I've relieved Colonel Perry of his command.
GR-13, this mission has been canceled. I order you back to the cooling chamber. Now!
Orders? I'm giving the orders from now on. We have a mission to complete. Any questions?
Room for mistakes.
One at. Greetings to you, a topic on what is the secret of the family of the victims of the choice. Now I am pleased to reveal one of the most important secrets of gangs of mind control in Iraq and its leader, the devil who made himself a prophet, and it is really something shameful. I believe that many victims do not know something about this and do not know what became the house in which you live, also do not know what did her family become. I heard many say, for example, that their families against them became friends with them, and they may think that they have become because of orders from this gang for these people. Of course, this may be true, but not with this image of the victims. I mean, why these victims did not realize why perhaps many publish, warn, and spend time and effort in warning others. I mean, do they think that these people are like they have no work or want to waste time? Of course. With this, they may throw their responsibility on sides that have nothing to do with the issue. Also, I have noticed that elements of this gang are claiming to be victims and they are throwing responsibility on the bodies that have nothing to do with the issue, and the reason in this it is the protection of the party responsible for this, but in any case the warning is useful if it was taken from a neutral source. Now I have something I want to say about the matter, but I will explain to you now in a new way. I mean, now listen to what one of the victims says. It says that its church has become. Do not want to focus please on this. To that. Now listen to what the same victim says about her family while she remembers that they have become against her and also her friends here. The explanation for this is that this victim was caught inside the church and she was given a position and she does not know anything about it and was made to learn the unseen while she did not know anything, and after this the victim's house was made. She represents a church. Her family was also made to represent the people in the church. Notice that the victim went to the church and was rejected, or the agents of the homosexual security agent who were inside this church were inside it, and after this the family of the victim went to do the same thing. I tried to describe to you the very difficult situation in which the victim of choice falls. I will not be able because the situation is real, very shameful. Rather, it is a disdain for something like a group of thieves who have a leader and they protect their true leader. They say that the victim of choice is the leader against them, then they lie to others and say that this victim works unseen and that also has a style of leadership of the gang, which is that it does not deal with the elements of the gang, but only with a secretary to it. 3 at, or there is another description, which is that dirty waste is placed over a person's head so that he cannot remove it even if he knows about it or knows about it, and after this the swarms of flies begin to chase this person wherever he goes and she is running behind this waste and not behind the person here. Please focus very on this. Because it is similar to the situation in which the victims say that there are those who follow them everywhere and there are those who speak against them or take hostile actions against them here. The question is why we will speak logic and reason. I have noticed from the words of many victims in Iraq, and I know that they are very poor and they have no money or position or they follow or know about security or politics, or they are the leader of his tribe. Here they have absolutely nothing. So why do mind gangs make huge money agreements in pursuit of them wherever they go, but they pay money to anyone who speaks against them or distorts their reputation, as we see that waves of mind control are not for free, but a lot of money is being spent here. Another question, why does this gang not kill the victim by shooting at it instead of such fatigue and losses? I mean, do these gangs fear the law in Iraq, which has become only a servant to them, and the victim went to him and did not do anything to them, but he became next to the gangs on them? So the answer is the gangs are not afraid at all from the law, and also something is certain that they are not afraid of God. And why did you not kill the victim? What is the goal of such torture? Of course, I will give you the real answer first. If we take victims outside of Iraq who have also been subjected to this by this terrorist dirty in Iraq with him and his assistant homosexual security agent, and its purpose is to tear society apart and disturb the people's trust in the law and the security forces and others that are the ones who want to protect the citizen from. 4 at. from such dirtying sex, while the situation is completely different in Iraq. The reason inside Iraq is that there is a game that made the victim the biggest fool and stupid in the world. I will tell you what they say about themselves. They claim that they are a holy organization from God and it was given by God to the victim of choice, and there are conditions in this gift. I will mention some to you first. It is forbidden for the victim to take any money from it or benefit from it. The thieves and terrorism benefit from you. They are the ones who can take money and positions in it. Secondly, it is forbidden for him to establish a friendship relationship with the United States of America and the countries of Europe. The Unseen, the Holy Spirit, and the Guardian. This organization has a guard who has been appointed by God, and he who will make himself a mediator between the victim and this organization and will claim that he is a secretary to him and transfer orders from him to the rest of the elements of this organization. And this is the center of danger because it is a market that lies. You know exactly what this organization does, and do you know what it does? That it is all back from terrorism and its merchants, drugs, paper, smuggling, forgery, corruption and gang recruitment, which is why they do not say that they make the victim learn about them. Anything here. Notice the catastrophe that falls on the victim's head. It is not from God at all. These are the last person who talks about God. I mean, the victim of choice will be the leader of a terrorist gang. I have something or body to go in here. I have something that I want to clarify, which is that this gang is an intelligence network from the days of the previous regime. For this reason, we find that it is a gang operating in an intelligence way, that means the way of the sleeping cells, or that its elements claim that they are or behave as if. 6. There are other explanations for the reason for the occurrence of torture on the victims of choice in Iraq, and this explanation is that there have been changes in the leadership or management of this gang, so new decisions have been issued, including the torture and disposal of victims. The presence of cows of a certain type, color, shape, etc. But it happened that this person changed, or another person was brought with him and became a partner for him on this farm, and that person has a different desire from the first person, so he would get rid of all the cows that were kept by the first person and bring their place cows of a type he wants. This is a comment on such an interpretation. These victims of choice are nothing but cows, and changes have occurred in the management of this organization. That is why torture occurred with them. Notice from this that the victims of choice have no authority over this organization or any role, nor are they even, but rather only a victim has only this, and this is the opposite of what this gang publishes and denies, and says that this organization is a gift from God given to the victim of choice, while this victim does not know anything about anything, how changes in management occur, and she does not know about it. Isn't she? The director is also lying. I want to tell you that these explanations were issued by this gang, and I, through elements affiliated with them, knew this. For example, they said that the organization turned into homosexuals. Important note. No one knows the son of this leadership's place, I mean, anywhere in Iraq, but this administration. You take the fools of choice victims who made them like a pillar on which a camera was placed so that they can see their elements or do the unseen tricks. I wanted this to show you that the victims of the selection are completely nothing, and this administration of this organization plays as you like, but it. 7. You try to throw the responsibility at the head of the victim of choice only. I have something else, or another game, which is a dirty game that says wherever the victim goes, he will be responsible for the place he is in. Despicable Spy made himself the victim's guard, and he is a despicable thief from this gang that is a cocktail of criminals and thieves. Now I have something before I complete the series of insults against this gang that is spying on now, and you know what to say about them, but they never care about this because they are like a terrorist and found a treasure. But this gang, it is the paradise of the terrorists who took advantage of the issue of the Holy Spirit and the unseen and made it a way to reach Europe and America. Now I give you an explanation of what happens to the victims of choice. This is what I said earlier. A specific period, and after this it is thrown and another victim is brought in instead of it. Of course, this stage is divided in two. The first stage is the stage of the lie, which is a game or a lie that God chose the victim and gave her an organization, and there is a guard with it, and also a laws of this game continue for a period determined by the gang. And after this comes the second stage, which is that God retracted his decision and gave half of this organization to the homosexual security agent, who will have half in this organization, and after this he launches an attack on the victim in order to drop it and take the half that remains. She has this story repeated with all the victims of choice, and the second stage is the one that finds the victim attacked by gangs, and by all means, of course, the victim does not know anything about the first stage at all, and that was made by someone who has a complete organization and even that. But even that you also don't know his lie, that she has half the rest, and that is an excuse to launch the attack here. Notice the victims. Is this the view of a person who had an organization, or a half, or even a quarter means if they had such a thing? I am sure they did not write any topic, because this will be presented the position that they have for risk, because the gang or group that is attacking is also from the same organization. If you file a complaint or speak out, it will lose what it has, but the victim does not have anything and does not know anything about the first or even the second stage. This gang never stops. Now, we return to the main issue, which is about the victim's family, to find, according to the gang's game, that the victim has become responsible for them, and also friends who have this in the first stage. The victim's family and friends are because they are members of this gang. I mean, they are considered the king of the gang. Of course, some of the families of the victims do not know that the victim does not know anything about them, and they think that she is responsible for them, and it is from their lie or gives orders to them, or he chooses, according to the lie, that the victim knows the unseen, and there is a condition not to speak with the elements and adopt a secretary. Note that the whole game is a game. This is the one who made himself the secretary of the victim or guard for her. The manager, but she works unseen and also secretly, and does not speak at all with the elements, but only with him, or give him orders, and he will distribute them to the rest of the elements. And this guard thief or the secretary puts a spy device, and it is a slice of mind control on it, so that every talk to her or when 10. Adults and children. Of course, this model is present in all branches of the gang in Iraq. I mean, it does not help at all to change the place here. The problem of the victim in this dirty garbage is the leader of this gang. Of course, the reason that these people do not take any words from the victim, or even when they are insulted to them, is the reason for this is the leader of this gang. There is another game that this devil says that he wants the victim to choose for him one of the two. Of course, they are all lies. Only also there is another game that victims of choice are exploited with it, and it made it the person who registers them to become thieves and terrorists, and that is through his deception, which is eating and drinking, meaning whenever the victim ate something or drank, it was recorded who you eat or drink, or when you speak, receive or take something or live, etc. This game is done through a device espionage. Of course, it's not for the victim to know something, for sure, but even when you learn about such a game, you pretend to warn others. No one cares, and the gang leader remains doing what he wants only. The victim is harmed by her. For example, if he records a person with whom the victim spoke or delivered to him, and after this the victim or others revealed him, look what he will do. He will temporarily close him and tell him that the victim is the one who said this, and after this he registers another person in the same way. Also in the same game repeats if the game reveals the victim and the spy devil, as if he defies all law and legitimacy, if he was the guard or secretary of the victim, as he claims he was supposed to end any registration by such dirty ways. But he is a liar and a thief, as he does not take any orders from the victim at all and does what he wants.
With your relationships as well, they're gonna try and get as much information as possible from your friends as well. They're going to try and talk about your church. They might whisper into your ear that your church doesn't want you anymore because we know what you did sort of 2 months back. We know that you did something unpleasant, that sort of thing. So this is quite an elaborate, it's quite a detailed study that they go around doing. It's not just
11. Of course, this is a dirty deed. That is why it makes others hate the victim, because they are not registered in this gang. Of course, in Iraq, the bad situation of the people is armies of the poor everywhere because of these gangs of mind control that have taken over everything and stole people's money and started developing weapons for mind control. This also cost a lot of money. Terrorism has been supported and gangs are recruited. Thus people are searching for anything to get money from, even if such dirty gangs steal and spoil, of course, although this is against the law, but because people see the law's elements accept the feet of this gang, they also see elements the gang is present with the police control and in the state departments, so they started organizing for it, and after this spy comes to them to tell them that the victim refused. This means he registered them and then he gave them a stop, and we have their record lead to them and said to them the victim is from their record. We have asked them for something or housing or he spoke, etc. And after this he himself said to them that he refused, and this will make people hate the victim. Of course, this spy thief does not stop even if the victim dislikes him from here. I have something very funny, and it is a response from the gang members about why I stopped working. The answer was that he says they are God's voice and that it is not permissible to stop God's voice. Look at filth and how they use the name of God. They are the voice of Satan only. Does that mean God's voice told them to strike France and Belgium, for example, or they attack international forces in Iraq, or they kill all American friends and countries? Europe and Iraq, as they steal Iraq's money, spread sectarian strife, spoil everything and exploit children etc. from work that is not dirtier than it is a farce to say that it is the voice of God. So if it is the actions of God's voice, then what will be the voice? 12 at Satan. They didn't have anything for him to do. They took all kinds of evil. There is another trick for them, which is the game of making the victim's family members represent political personalities. On the basis of the victim, they choose one. This is a dirty play too. These are all puppets with one person's hand. From him and their record in his hand, notice now who is a victim of choice that she is a director who has no management and has no authority with anything, as he does not know that he is a manager, and even if he knows he will not be able to take such a position at all, and whatever he tried also is a knight without a horse. It is something like a body that is exploited for him only.
Now you stay there and Uncle Phil might buy something.
That's your brother?
Oh, no, it's not my brother, Mr. Bashkaloop. He's just a cute little fellow we adopted.
He's a citizen?
Well, I don't think he's a citizen, is he? He don't come from this country.
You don't got no papers like me?
He ain't got no paper like you. Say, listen, Mr. Bashkaloop.
The bananas. Get some bananas.
Yeah, we want to get some bananas. How much are bananas?
For you, Luigi, special price. 5 cents a piece, 3 for 25.
5 cents a piece.
You better get 3 of them.
Yeah, give me 3 of them, Mr. Bashkaloop.
All right.
That's 25. Thank you. Hey, wait a minute. There's only 2 bananas here.
That's a 3 bananas.
No, there's 2 bananas here. You said 3 for
I'm going to explain on you.
Huh? Yeah.
That's a 1 banana, Angie.
Yeah.
That's a 2 banana, Angie.
Yeah.
1 banana, 2 banana, that's a 3 banana.
Yeah, that's still 2 bananas.
I don't know.
You keep quiet and go, it's 2 bananas.
That's the matter. You don't go to school or something?
Now count them again, but that's, I want the
That's one.
3 bananas.
That's a 1 banana, don't
Yeah.
you? That's a 2 bananas, don't you?
Yeah.
1 banana, 2 banana, that's a 3 bananas.
Yeah. That's 1 banana, what he says. 2 bananas, Angie. 1 and... Come on, now give me the 3 bananas here.
What's the matter?
I
You're
don't care
stupid or something?
I'm not stupid, but I... Will you
One
keep quiet?
banana, 1 banana, non Hey, 2 banana, non 1 banana, 2 banana, that's a 3 bananas. You got a 2 bananas, and
Maybe you gotta sing it.
You gotta sing it.
That's 1 banana, Angie, and that's 2 bananas you got 'em, maybe. And 1 banana, and another banana. I only get 2 bananas out of this.
There's a 1 banana, Angie. There's a 2 bananas, what he said.
Yeah, that's a pretty song.
Got 2 bananas and a 1 banana. That's 3 bananas.
This is 3 bananas?
Yeah. It's 3, 2, and 1 is 3. I can't.
1 banana ain't as you. And it's a 2 banana have you. A 1 banana and a 2 banana. Put them together. That's right.
3 bananas.
13 at. From this we see that the game of choice in Iraq is a hunting of a person from the poor and the weak or fools, and after a complete study of his situation and the knowledge of his family and what he loves and what he hates, and after this is planted slices for mind control on him without knowing, and then begins the game that the main goal of protecting a leader this gang and disguising his affairs by creating a personality that plays the role of she is the leader so that she is the own person and not the real leader, who will make the body of this victim as if it were his home or his second body, and this is similar to the example of a gang leader person hides himself and brings a similar person to him in order to be present in multiple places, and if there is a danger, this similar to the victim and not the real leader will be harmed. The only difference between this thing and the victim of choice is that the victim does not know anything, while the similar knows that he has made himself a scapegoat for a gang leader. Also, this similar will take a lot of money to play this role, while the victim of choice will not get any shit and only harm. There is another thing, which is that mind control gangs have cadres specialized in all kinds of lying, fraud, and these will perpetuate lies and delusion on the victim, and the goal of this to make the victim behave as if he is a leader or holder of a position and according to the lie that this power or behavior came from God. Of course, if the victim did not act in this way, the game will fail because they want to deceive others for the purpose of camouflage in their true leader here. We return to how they will make of a poor citizen weak and behaving like an important person or holder of a position. Of course, they have many ways, the first of which is to deceive him that God chose him, and also the way to believe in God. 14. It is like seducing the devil. They know what the victim loves or wishes, and whatever the wish is impossible, they will make themselves able to it, and this is the carrot that will be tied with a stick, so that the imam of the victim who remains keeps running behind her, and she will never get it because she is an illusion and lies only. But this run, they understand this and they want this, and after this an incredible picture of the victim in what I am searching for is published, so that they make many envy her for what she has reached. Of course, they do not know the truth in the victim in an enviable position, but rather slapping on the head only. I will mention some of what is published on the victim. First, they make of it that it has become a person who becomes responsible in any region that he enters. Also, if he dwells in any house, the house becomes for him. If he goes up in a car, it becomes for him. If he entered a government department, also became for him, or entered a company or his farm. Note that others hear this and envy the victim in each one of them. He wishes, of course, to be in her place. He is sure that he will regret this if he did, because he will discover that all of this is lies, and the victim is nothing but a stupid donkey or a puppet in their hand, and they are the ones who spread these lies or build a statue of the lies to her. I have some other lies that are forged, which is that the victim is intercession. I mean, if someone came to steal money and greet them, a grace is given to him too. The United States of America and the countries of Europe are brothers to Iraq, who will never imitate this because they say that God rejects this. Even if they pretend falsely that they imitated them, they lie because they will play the acting game. I have other things from 16. I have something very funny about the deception of having the victim's property, and as I told you, there is a lie from this gang whose name is the property and money of the victim of choice. I mean, for example, if the victim lived in any house, he would become for her, or ate in a restaurant or any place, he also would have revealed to this lie. Of course, if I lived in a house, this house will not be registered in the name of the victim in the relevant departments at all, but will remain in the name of the person who owns this house or the restaurant. Of course, the victim does not know anything about this. Look at the other farce. And what if the victim learned about it and wanted to take this house or restaurant or hold the owner accountable? The restaurant is on imports and this is its right, but according to his lie, this gang must strike the owner of the restaurant or the house so that you can take the house. So why does the victim not work a bandit or a better thief for her? This is exactly the same thing as the other farce. If she does this, the owner of the house will file a lawsuit against it at the police. It is very funny. There is also a joke more ridiculous than this, which is that the owner of the restaurant will tell the victim to work for him while he says that this restaurant is for her and he is just a guard over him. These are dirty tricks from this gang, and the reason is that there is a filthy animal made himself a guard for it too. There is a dirty game played by this gang, which is the competition game between two groups, one representing European countries and the other representing terrorism. This is one of the dirtiest lies at all, both of them in one gang led by one terrorist, and I have always asked not to recognize them all, and I made clear to everyone who they are victims of choice. I mean, even if the victim of choice is a friend of America and European countries, this will not help anything because it is only a scarecrow of birds or a pillar on which they put a camera. No one recognizes it and everyone deals with it as their slave. 17. From here and there, but they all meet at one point, for example, that the family of the victim is the gang, or they represent the gang, and that all the torture and harm done to the victim is the reason for it or orders from his family who made him like the shoes of everyone who wants to wear it or makes himself also there. Another saying is that the mother of the victim and his father are the ones who sold their son to this gang, and even the issue of a group of homosexuals or degenerate people also who brought them to tame their son who became a slave to them. Also they are the ones who sell and buy as well as this slave they have and move from one to another, and they do not allow anyone to interfere because he is a slave. Of course they have. Here, I want to clarify this point. The social relationship has ended so completely that the victim's family has come to see him as their slave and they do not have a son. Dirty families sell their children to gangs of slavery and terrorism. From this, we see that the victim of choice has become a slave among their families. I mean, maybe his mother, one of his brothers, or his father might even use it. Even the adult and young game is from his family, who will use his name as Lord. What is one of his brothers or from this family, but who will be against him? He is also a member of the family. As for the victim's friends, one of the victim's family is the one who made them follow him, and also the representative of the homosexual security agent also records this set of points, but they all say that the victim, the choice, is nothing but just a pillar inside the house or a cow they have made compete for it, but to become a cow for the one who wins only. Of course, the reason why the victim is important is not at all, but this prostitute demon leader of this gang who made himself represent God or prophet, but the victim's family are elements. 18 at. From this we note that the most prominent lie about the victim's family is making her responsible for her family or leader over them without knowing this, and then the members of this family are made people who represent political figures or branches of this gang in Iraq, or are divided into two groups, one senior and the other homosexual. Also there is a lie the victim's family made the cell belonging to this gang. Of course, the person who leads the victim's family is not the victim at all, but he is the spy devil who exploits our body, and he is the one who gives them orders only, but he runs them on them and says it is from the victim. But this case also there is a point in it. There are cases where the victim knew this game and told members of her family, said that it was not her, but the game continued because all the elements of this organization are gangs or cows only, so no one of them dared open his mouth with this devil and said to him, why you lie to us, or why you lie to us, and I mean the members of this gang who do not know that the victim is nothing.
It's quite shocking for them.
This is what happens. You get old, you get bloated, you get tired. I was a beautiful girl when this whole thing started, and now, well, you see. But I've survived, so I feel an obligation to leave a record of events. Even if it doesn't save my life, it will help other people. Destructive, very destructive.
Those everyday ordinary innocent people, and somehow we've ended up on this ungodly evil list of people who have their lives literally destroyed on a day-to-day basis. I know that you're hurting mentally, financially, physically, emotionally. I know that you're hurting.
Literally cattle. This is, humanity doesn't, it's really a victim to all these things going on. However, there's so